Yep, it's time for Love and Romance in West 605. Of course, the Beatles always said, all you need is love. Tina Turner once asked the question, what's love got to do with it? And then Queen talked about a crazy little thing called love. And if you might remember, Johnny Lee was looking for love in all the wrong places. So it's one thing to be in love with someone, but something entirely different to be able to show that person how you feel.
Allie Fast has been working at Flowers by Leroy in Rapid City for years now, and she says she's seen a lot of Valentine's Days come and go, but there's always one thing that never changes.
Unfortunately, a lot of guys tend to wait till the last minute, come in, that day, a couple of days before, to pick out their stuff. We always try to have a lot of things available for them. We have lots of different options here in the store as gifts, flowers, jewelry. So we try to accommodate everyone, but it is a very last-minute holiday.
So you see this constantly, year after year?
Unfortunately, yes, yeah. Even though the day of the week changes, the same date every year.
I mean, I'm no psychologist, I'm sure you're not either, but I wonder what it is about guys and this last-minute sort of attitude when it comes to showing their feelings.
Yeah, that's a tough one. They want to show that they care, but they don't really know how, so flowers might sometimes be a last-minute thought. Like, oh, I can get her flowers, she likes those. If they can't think of anything else. Or they know that she does love flowers. I think part of it is flowers don't last forever, so they think if they wait, it'll last longer, even though they can order ahead.
And guys, just so you know, you don't always have to give roses.
I would say it's whatever they like. Some people don't like roses or they don't think they last as long as some other things. Lilies are also very popular at Valentine's Day. It's roses and lilies.
Okay. Is there anything you steer guys away from?
We try not to deter them from anything.
Especially when they're in here at the last minute.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it just depends on who they're giving it to. Some ladies like plants, something that they can keep for a lot longer. Some people definitely want flowers, so just depends on what that woman in their life wants.
Flowers by Leroy will have extended hours for all you last-minute shoppers out there talking to guys. When you're in love, really in love, there comes a time when you make that decision that you want to spend the rest of your life with a certain person. Just like Michael Tinsvold and Brooklyn Stack, who got engaged on Christmas Day.
We were opening presents with his family once we got to Rushville, and he was dropping every box. Every box,
I was
every
like
gift
this
card.
the entire
your face is 3 shades of red right now, okay?
Everything he was dropping, and I even made a comment. I said something about, hey, you should probably keep that in your hands. And he goes, oh, I know, I'm just a klutz.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of my first indicator.
That something was up.
Yeah.
And the strategy is once we got done opening presents is when I was gonna go to her stocking and be like, hey, look what I found, and then go on and do the whole thing. And I didn't really play it in my head enough, or I played it in my head too much, and so I kind of freaked myself out. So I just told my mom to not put it in the stocking and just keep it in her room. And so we got done opening presents and we're just kind of standing around talking, and she went to the bathroom. My mom's like, okay, let's do this right now. So I went back to her room, she gave me the ring, and I put it in my back pocket. And as I'm walking down the hallway and she's sitting on the couch, it's just when I was freaking out. I kind of walked back to the end of the room, and here's my mom with her camera, here's my dad with his phone camera, and everyone's just filming, so she knew something was up.
I knew something was up when his dad pulled out his phone.
Yeah.
His mom, a different story. She films everything, takes pictures of everything. But his dad never pulls out his phone. I cried like a baby, and I said, duh.
What?
My response to him was, yes, duh.
Okay, all right.
Do I remember what he asked me? No.
Okay.
But I do remember my response.
Yeah, I got
Well, it's good that everybody got it on their cell phones.
Yeah.
Michael and Brooklyn are both Catholic, and having their marriage blessed in the church was very important to them. So that meant going through marriage preparation classes with a priest.
So with these marriage prep classes, what we have done so far is you take like a test online. Both of us take it's like a 200 question test.
Okay.
And it kind of just asks you questions about how do you feel with your partner? How do you think your partner feels about you? Do you have any addictions or stuff of that nature? And so you each answer individually, and when you do these marriage prep classes, you compare the answers against each other.
Sounds like they're pretty, in some of these questions are kind of broad stroke, and then others are very pointed.
Yes, they are very, they get really into your personal life. And anyone who's Catholic that's watching this that has gone through marriage prep, you understand.
And the point of it being what?
To find out if you're the perfect couple for each other.
You're compatible.
Yes.
And then, hey, who makes that determination after you fill out all the questions?
It's kind of like each other. Since they're so deep of questions, you really haven't asked each other these type of questions before. You may have, but it's just more of what does the other person think without any other bias.
Was there ever a time when you're filling out the answers to these questions, you said a couple hundred?
Oh yeah.
Was there ever a time where you went, wow, we've never talked about this?
Yeah, there are a couple questions in there that ask you about finances and about kids and about, outside relationships. If you've ever wondered if your significant other is cheating on you, or if you have reservations about drinking, for instance.
Okay.
So all of those answers, we just come back with the priest and meet with the priest one-on-one, and we see what did he answer, what did I answer, and then we just talk about it a little bit, and it definitely stirs up some conversations between he and I.
The classes are followed by a weekend retreat that other couples attend as well. It's a lot of time and effort, but Michael and Brooklyn believe that working toward a strong marriage makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, Catholics are crazy. Yeah, we do a lot.
Can we say that?
I can say that because I've been in the Catholic religion forever, and she can agree with Catholics. We're pretty crazy.
But we do it right.
Yeah, it's over the top, yes, but I do agree that some of these things are needed for couples. Like this retreat will be good because you spend time without phones and TVs, and you kind of just like hang out with each other, just like traditionally. You just get to do all the practices without any distractions and stuff like that. So
Okay. Sounds like you guys are going to be very prepared.
yes.
I hope so.
One couple that knows the benefits of being in a strong marriage are the Careys, Bill and Mary Carey. And the day I talked with them, they were celebrating their 64th wedding anniversary. Mary says when she and Bill first started dating, she got a lot of coaching.
I worked in the meat department of one of the grocery stores that he worked in, and things developed because people thought we should be dating.
What do you mean people thought you should be dating?
The lady that I worked with in the meat department wrapping meat said, now you ought to date him because he's okay and he likes this kind of perfume and he likes this. And I couldn't believe all this stuff, but it all turned out right.
So you were being coached
Yeah.
in order to date Bill?
A lady whose husband was a fireman.
I was a senior in high school. I graduated in '56,
And I graduated 58.
so she was out of school a year and I was out a couple. We had a community college in Mason City and I was going to school there. So I was active in going to college and still working at the grocery store.
I'm curious, what was it, what happened, or what was the thought process when you decided, yeah, let's get married? I mean, was it a long process, or did you know pretty quickly?
Pretty quickly. and I goofed up, but
What do you mean?
He came to the house the night he was going to propose. Too early, I was still at work.
Oh,
So my father said, what do you want?
did you have a ring in your hand?
no,
No. Okay.
not there.
Okay. All right.
And Dad liked him, and my brother liked him. And our families just clicked.
Through the years, Bill and Mary were able to overcome a lot of the same challenges that other couples do, even the deaths of two of their children. And they say that experience brought them closer and helped them to communicate better.
We wouldn't give up. We could come home and one of us would be really upset about something, but we never gave up that way. We talked to each other, and it works better if you both know what you're thinking and how you're doing it. and it's hard losing kids. My mom lost a baby when I was 10. So Mom said, you just do it because this is what you've chosen.
For me, the important thing is commitment. When you get married, you make that commitment to your partner and keep the commitment. Work it out and make it work.
64 years of marriage. A good goal to shoot for here in West 605. Falling in love is just falling in love. It's pretty much the same wherever you go, right? Well, maybe not. Tracy Palacek is a couples counselor and consultant, and she says falling in love in West 605 brings its own kind of challenges.
Well, being a diehard Midwest fan, you know, and I love everything Midwest about our culture, and I really am curious about it. I just really reflected on, you know, as I've done this work over the years and reflected on my own parents' marriage and divorce and what that was like for me. I think in the Midwest, there's some definite things that we deal with. One, we are the second generation of kind of this whole divorce culture. You know, a lot of people my age have divorced parents. It was sort of, it became okay kind of in the 70s, or more okay in the 70s and 80s to dissolve relationships that weren't working. But if you look at my grandparents growing up here, they stayed married till the bitter end, right? And most of my friends as grandparents were married until.
What happened though?
Well, I think a lot
between one generation and the next.
Mary Tyler Moore, for one, in the 70s. It was that TV show. No. I mean, I think women in the workforce, you know, we started having feminism came into play. There was much more options for people to support themselves. You didn't have to, you know, it wasn't just key to your survival to stay together financially and emotionally. Things started economically changing and things started opening up. Society did change. But I think what happened in the Midwest is we still, with our hard work attitude, our do it ourselves, I think that's the cultural piece. We don't ask for help, and we also don't want others to know that there's anything wrong going on in any area of our lives.
None
right?
of your business.
No, everything's fine here, nothing to see here, I've got this. You know, that's a very Midwest type, oh, how are you? Great, I'm fine, how are you? Okay. You know, and I think in our relationships, what happens in the Midwest is some people do stick it out and be really miserable and really don't take the time or didn't know that we could do that. I also think in the Midwest, the idea of couples therapy or therapy in general is not as widely accepted as we're talking about on the coasts or in other bigger
it's a sign
cities.
Of failure.
It's like, yeah, I don't need to get my head shrunk or whatever, you know? And I think people, or even people thinking that I want to go talk to someone, even a professional, about really intimate problems that I'm having in my own relationship. In the Midwest, that was a big barrier and continues to be. I think that's why people wait so long. I think that's why they suffer in silence. I do think that we have more traditional gender roles here that linger, and so I think men especially don't have, it's not always culturally appropriate in the Midwest for men to be open and vulnerable about failing in a relationship. I don't know, you know, or talking about feelings or talking about ways that they can make things better. I think that is changing, but I do think that's part of the Midwest culture that we need to change, you know, that everyone needs help. We're not taught how to interpersonally communicate, talk about our feelings, and solve really complex interpersonal problems. That needs to change. You know, talking to our kids about that, modeling to them about how to disagree and even make big mistakes and repair that.
And yes, there is a positive side to falling in love in West 605.
One of the things that I love about the Midwest in terms of families and relationships are that if we do find out somebody is struggling, we do reach out to help, and we offer concrete help.
Even something that's personal, as a marital relationship?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think I've seen with the couples I work with is once they couldn't hide it anymore. Maybe there was a separation where you're moving into separate homes and you had to tell your friends. A flood of support comes in and you hear about all of the issues that everybody around you is having that nobody was talking about. And I think to myself, boy, wouldn't that have been nice to have that support before or before it got bad? So I think that's the beauty of the Midwest is I do think we genuinely care about each other and we genuinely do offer emotional support and tangible support when we can, when we find out and share our own struggles when the opportunity presents itself.
Government data shows that the number of people in this country who are getting married is at its lowest level since records have been kept. There are many reasons for the decline, so a big question needs to be asked. What's the future of marriage in West 605 and the rest of the country as well?
What I'm noticing is I think there's a deep longing for people to believe that long-term commitment is possible. I don't think that has changed.
That's not just la romanticism.
Yeah, I think there is a deep longing to see things work in the long term. And I think people are coming around to a more practical idea that what do they want to see their golden years like? And what does that look like? If I can stay together, what did, like, for example, my grandparents benefit from sticking it out through a lot of adversity? What did they benefit?
I want what they had.
Yeah, and I think when you ask them, they got to see everything that they went through and the kids they raised together through the whole journey. They got to support each other through aging,
but like you said,
retiring.
It wasn't easy.
Absolutely not. But I do think the future of marriage is people are committing to having it be an amazing experience. I think if they're going to be in it, they want it to be fulfilling. They want it to be worthwhile. They want it to be fun. And people are coming into therapy to learn those skills. You know, I've got couples who have fought for 30 years. And when one got a divorce, I mean, there's nothing more gratifying for me to work with them over time and have them sit in my office a year out from some intense work. When I ask them, how are you feeling? And they say, I'm feeling sad. And I say, what sad? You're doing great, you know? And they say, I'm sad we wasted so much time.
Oh, okay.
So I think the future of marriage, hopefully, is that people realize that we work so hard in other aspects of our life. How many people in January are in the gyms? We're gonna get our body in shape. We're gonna go and learn, goal setting. We work so hard and are so intentional in our work lives, and I think people hopefully will realize if I am so intentional and work hard, I'm gonna reap the benefits in my romantic relationships.
Here's to the big picture kind of romance here in West 605. One final note when it comes to love in West 605. If you're looking for that unconditional kind of love, the Humane Society of the Black Hills is the place to find it. Of course, I'm talking about that four-footed, tail-wagging, furry kind of love.
You come home from a hard day's work, your dog is always there, ready to greet you, happy wags, happy smiles. He doesn't care, he's just so happy to see you. I mean, he's always there to love you and just be with you, and that's all animals want, is just to be loved and to spend time with you.
I gotta assume this is a dog thing.
Mainly
cats,
dog.
Cats probably not. Lizards, no.
No. Yeah, cats, they love on you, but on their own accord. Dogs just want to love on you all the time.
Mm-hmm. Do you get that reciprocation of the unconditional love immediately, or does it take time?
Well, some dogs take a little bit of time to warm up to you, but they're still there. They're trying to reach out to you. And as long as you take that time and patience to go at their speed, I mean, they will love you no matter what.
I'm thinking this is just like any other relationship.
Exactly.
If you want that reciprocation of unconditional love, you have to work at it. It takes time, patience, training.
Lots of training. For both sides. You know, we have to learn their cues, their signs.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up. When I got my dog, I felt like I was the one being trained.
Yeah, sometimes you are.
Just like any other relationship, if if you want it to thrive, you need a good home environment and good communication.
So if you have a home that matches the dog's personality, they're going to thrive a lot more. So like if you have a high energy dog, but they go to a home where all you do is sit around and watch TV, they're not going to thrive so much. So you want to match that dog's personality to the home that they're going to. Like Miss Honey here is super sweet, very calm and shy, but she loves kids. So you want to make sure she goes to a home where she can thrive, play with the kids, get that attention that she really needs. They understand you perfectly. They can't communicate, obviously verbally, but they show cues that they understand what you're going through. So if you're having a hard day, they'll come up and just sit with you, and just lean their head on you. Or if they can sense like, oh, you're kind of anxious, maybe a walk will help, and they try to get you up and going and doing things. I think they understand us a lot more than we give them credit for.
Is that just all breeds across the board, or are some more empathetic, let's put it that way, than other breeds?
I believe some are more empathetic, but across the board, they all love you. They all want your attention, your complete attention, But depending on the breed, they show their love differently. Kind of.
Just kind of like people, maybe?
Like people. Yeah. They're exactly like people. They do things differently, different styles, but the love itself is still there.
When it comes right down to it, having a pet, a dog or a cat, is like having a child.
You want them to come home to a loving home where they can nourish, they can thrive, they can learn, just like anyone else. So
I like the way you put that. It's just like when you adopt, whether you adopt or whatever, however you get your animal or your pet, it is just like having a child.
It is. So we want to treat them like it, so hence the name Fur Baby, because they're our little babies. As long as you know what your lifestyle is and what you want your pet to do with you or for you, that's the most important thing. So if you are a hiker, we want to make sure we give you a dog who's not just going to lay around in the sun, or a cat that's just, lays in the window all day. We want to find that one person that, can really match up to the dog's personality as well. And I think both sides will thrive if we do that.
The moral of the story is this: if you're in a loving, committed relationship, hold on tight. Nurture it. Don't ever take it for granted. And if you're still looking for that kind of relationship, be patient. Don't settle, because the next chapter in your story could be written here in West 605.